Hello everyone and welcome back to Theater 333, Wigs and Facial Hair Volume Techniques. This is a continuation of what we started in class with our rat being sewn into our wig head. Mine is only T-pinned in for now just to save time. So I had the hair sectioned off. The underneath hair is clipped in alligator clips to keep it out of the way, and then the two side pieces are also clipped. This piece here I would keep out of my hair that is going to go over the rat because I imagine my style would have some really lovely curls there to frame the face. Just giving the hair a good brush to keep it all nice and flat as I get started here. Okay, so I am going to balance that section that I brought out to be my front curls. Then one side's a little thick, this side here that I'm starting, so I'm going to just keep kind of working on that to make sure that they are more even. Okay, I got it to a place where I think it's pretty balanced and even. It's about the same width and heaviness of hair. So I'm going to clip that out of the way so I can continue to work on this section here. Brushing that out, making sure it's all nice and detangled. Okay, we're going to keep sectioning off with our rat tail comb. This first section I am pulling out closest to the rat. Clipping off what I'm not using. And then I'm going to lay the hair over the rat. There's a piece of glue, I believe, in the hair there, so I'm trying to get that out. Alright, so you take your hair that you've sectioned off and you want to lay it over your rat. Now my rat is completely the wrong color for what I would normally use for this wig. Usually it would match the hair tone, but in a pinch this will work for the demo. It actually kind of works lovely for the demo because you can see the hair a little bit better and how I lay it out on to the rat. I'm using a regular bobby pin to pin this hair down. You can also use a wig pin as well. That's just to hold it in place while I style it. The little tail there, if you can get in between your stitching, you can tuck your little tail up underneath your rat. I'm grabbing some hairspray because of course I didn't bring it over to me before I started this. And giving it a little spritz will help you get the hair exactly where you want it. So then I'm just kind of spreading it out, making a really nice layer. And I'm doing it all over again. Now the order in which you pull out sections will determine how your style will look at the end, and as I keep going you will be able to see that develop. So you kind of want to be a little strategic with what sections you're pulling out. So you can either hairspray the hair once it gets onto the rat, or you can spray it like this, give it a little spritz, and then you have a little bit more control over it because it's a tad bit sticky, and you can place it exactly where you want. Don't be too perfectionist about it, right? Like you're going to build several layers over the top of this, so it doesn't have to be completely perfect on these first few layers. Bobby pinning it again. I'm also using bobby pins so y'all can see that if you're going to use a whole bunch of bobby pins, a huge buildup of them happens and it makes it quite lumpy and heavy. The more pins you put in the hair, the heavier the wig is. So another alternative is to take your curved needle and actually stitch your hair down as well. That's going to be the most secure technique too, so I often do that just to be sure. Okay, going for my curved needles, of course I didn't have them on the table and I had to look for them. There's my curved needle. You should be nice and friendly with this tool. And I'm just showing you, you can stitch down your hair in little sections into your rat. You can kind of go all the way across the back and in your layers. You can also tack it down on the top in the front as well if you feel like you need to. Okay, I'm working on this side now. You'll see how this starts to build up and you can't see through the hair as much once you get these layers. You'll also be able to see how layering the hair and choosing your sections will determine what the style looks like. So as I'm pinning these in with bobby pins, I am sticking the crimped side into the rat. That's not necessarily the easiest way to do it. Actually, the best way would be to have the crimped side grabbing the hair and the flat side in the rat. The crimped side is really good at holding things, right? So why waste it by putting it into the rat? Alright, I'm kind of leaving that center section alone because I'm planning out my end look and I would like the center section to lay on top of everything else so it looks nice and finished. Just using those bobby pins to hold my hair a little bit, and then I would technically come back and stitch it in and take the bobby pins out. I'll also show you how to use wig pins here in a little bit. The wig pins sit in, you can pin it into the rat actually a little bit easier and it's less obtrusive. You can really see those bobby pins. The wig pins you can hide a little bit better. And again, since it's not necessarily holding any structure, you can use your wig pin. Your bobby pin's better for structure, your wig pin's better for holding larger pieces of hair. Of course, I found another piece of glue in the wig, probably from when it was manufactured. This is a pretty new wig. What I'm futzing with there is the two different pieces of the wig. There's actually a weft that starts right there. So that's a really nice, clean place to part that wig. And I'm noticing that the bottom layer of the wig there is hidden underneath that piece that I just placed. And I will actually be able to cover the side of the rat a little bit better by using some of that hair that's under the rat versus on the side of it. So you can see how it layers and completely hides the rat. We have several more layers to go, so it'll just keep getting better. There I am having difficulty putting the crimped side into the rat. Again, I would suggest the other side. And also, it's just to hold. Okay, there's what I'm talking about. I realized that piece that I sectioned off is covering up all of that hair under there, and it would actually be smarter of me to pull some of that underlayer up onto the rat, and it will also make the style look better. Okay, I'm going to switch over to wig pins to hold this piece, and you'll see how a lot easier it is to push into the rat, but I also get smaller sections of the hair held down to the rat too. That's because the bobby pin is longer than the little round end of the wig pin. But if you're stitching it in or using more wig pins, then it wouldn't necessarily create a huge issue. You could also begin with stitching in your bottom layers and then mixing techniques and also using wig pins. I'm tucking that tail under there again. So it takes a lot of pre-planning, and it takes you having a vision of what your hair ultimately will look like at the end. So you can see a few bobby pins sticking out from the back side there. Again, that's why I suggest not using a whole ton of them, stitching it in and taking them out, or doing the wig pins. I am readjusting the wig head to start working from the front a little bit to show you how that is. I do think that if I were actually styling this wig, I probably would continue to work from the sides before I start styling the front, because my front pieces should actually be the last thing that I would do. But you can see how really lovely that lays on top of everything else that I've done. I'm just spreading that out and making that look nice and clean. I would eventually go back and pin down what I am placing right now. I'm just looking to make sure that it looks okay and it's doing what I want it to do. Yep, there it is. So we got a really nice, lovely, huge thing of volume on this wig. And I'll start doing the wig pins in certain places to hold down what I just placed. Of course, I have a monstrosity of pins over there, but that's what it's like working in education, yeah? I could organize it a little bit. We have plenty of time now, thank you, quarantine. Okay, so if we imagined that I was done with the left side, then I would actually start putting in my curlers in the front pieces and probably the bottom pieces too, and that would be a really nice pseudo 1700s hairstyle. You would then obviously want to hide all those ends or stitch all those ends down. You could also put a nice little barrette or bobble down there to really complete that style. You could also do what I'm doing right now, which is pulling some of those sections over those ends, and then again a barrette or a bauble of some sort, usually after you would curl it first. Yeah, there we go. Doing a little alligator clip, but it's not holding very well, so I'm going to switch over to the better clip. There you go. Obviously I'd want to complete the other side too, but here we are. This is how you would cover a large rat. You already learned how to do curlers, so you could throw those up in curlers, stitch down those little pieces, and you're ready to roll. Alright friends, thank you so much. Get a hold of me via Zoom if you have any questions.